Hey, this is Rob Dukes of Exodus, and you're watching CMS TV.
It is Chris Aiken Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Aiken. And today on the show, I'm going to introduce you to a new band, I guess. I guess we're going to call it a new band, but it's not made of new guys. It's guys that you've definitely heard. You've definitely heard their music. You may not know the names. You may know the names, but you've definitely heard the music that they've made with other acts. But they're bringing it together to form this just ass-kicking collaborative. The band is called Eastblood. They have a song out there now called Griftwitch, which you should definitely go and check out on YouTube because it kicks. It's from an album that's coming soon, I believe, called Burn What's Left. And here to talk all about it is Charlie Belmore, Nick Petrino, and Rob Eulis of Eastblood. Guys, how are you?
What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
Well,
Hello.
It's good to talk to you guys, man. And let me get back to the right screen here. Where'd we go? There we go. All right. Let's pick it up. Here we go. All right, guys. Well, let's start off by getting maybe a brief history of Eastblood. Like I said, you guys have all been in other things, whether it's Jasta Band or Generation Kill or Dee Snider Band. So why don't we start there? While you guys are known for that, tell me about kind of how Eastblood comes together and how you guys, with sort of different professional dynamics, bring it together.
It's I was working with Dee Snider, and we needed a live band because he called one day, gave the actual phone call of like, hey man, you want to be in my band, and like which was just crazy. And then we held auditions and found another guitar player, and that guy was Nick. And while we were out playing shows, we just were always commenting about how much we loved like the dueling guitar bands, like, you know, like your Judas Priest and your Slayer or your Megadeth or any of that kind of, or Exodus and all that kind of stuff. And we would always just comment about how nobody does it anymore. And we had taken, you could hear it on the Dee Snider for the Love of Metal live album, but we made all of the guitar solos like dueling solos, you know. So even if it was just, you know, Eddie Ojeda or JJ playing solos on the old Twisted songs, we would like cut them in half because we were like, oh, it's more fun if we're like going back and forth.
Sure.
And when COVID happened, I just sent I sent Nick a song, and I just said, hey, we should just start a band with this song, like kind of just because I'm just a psychopath and I write a lot of music. And sure enough, he just like sent back guitar solos like a fellow psychopath. And I immediately just kind of like, ooh, this might be really fun. And we kind of went back and forth just wondering if we'd ever do it. And then I think maybe like a year and a half ago or 2 years almost, we finally decided to pull the trigger and just started slowly putting the pieces together. And I was fortunate enough to meet Rob. I played for Generation Kill on a tour, and we kind of just got along. We were the only two people that wanted to go to the gym, so we were always going to the gym. Everybody else was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then in the morning, you're like, you want to go to the gym? And nah,
I don't see Rob Dukes running to the treadmill.
Although now, different story. At the time,
he has lost a bunch of weight.
I just talked to him a half hour ago. No kidding.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
That's funny.
But yeah, so we just got along, and I sent him a few songs, and I wanted to ask him if he wanted to play drums, but I didn't want him to like hate the music. And so I did it like in a very sheepish way. And I'm like, what do you think of this stuff? And he's just like, oh, good. And he's like, who's playing drums on this? And I was like, oh, I just programmed drums. I don't have a drummer yet. And he's like, could I play drums? I was like, oh, thank God he likes it. So that was kind of the impetus, basically.
Yeah, I was totally, gassed up when I heard it because it's so much energy and it was creative and fun and kind of throwback, but still has like a new vibe to it. And he programmed this crazy stuff to it, and I was like, who the heck played this? And he's like, oh, I just slowed it way down and just programmed stuff. I was like, he was just sending me all, started sending me song after song after so. I was like, where are all these coming from? He was like, I don't know. And so, yeah, the recording process was it's just before we had all this material. So, yeah.
Right on. Well, let me ask you guys this, and I always think this, and I know I'm the oddball probably to most people, but I always personally think I love when guys like you all get together and you mix styles and you find new music that you can create by doing stuff a little outside of what you're known for. That being said, the press loves to just bang on that door. Even this press for you guys, it's Dee Snider and Jasta, and it's that thing, which I honestly think almost hurts you in a way, because people will tune in and they'll be looking for "I will be heard," or they'll be looking for "we're not going to take it," and when they don't hear that, they're like, "Well, that's not what I thought I was getting."
Definitely
Does
not.
that affect you, and how do you get past that?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of hit or miss. Like I know when we had a discussion about this specifically, and it's more the initial advertisement of it, because at the end of the day, more people are gonna click on it if they see Dee Snider or if they see Jasta's name on it or something like that. And if half of them like it, cool. If half of them don't, cool. It's still more people than we may have just pulled out of nowhere, being like, "Oh, this new band, these guys you might know." That's it. Like, so it's kind of, it's 50-50. Like, it's a gamble, but I think it's one that's, it's a risk worth taking at this point. So
Yeah, personally, I don't give an F. What people, because people don't listen. People don't listen. There's a Jasta song that I wrote with Jamie called "Deadly Business," and anybody listening to this could go listen to "Deadly Business" after this interview. It is very slow and groovy, and it's like a kind of like an Exodus-y kind of riff, and it's like a halftime kind of thing, and it sounds very much like 80s metal kind of stuff, but it's more of like a Madball kind of drum beat, but the riff is very obvious, and Jamie basically sings melodically the entire song, and when we released it, the comments were like, "This sounds exactly like Hatebreed, and I don't like Hatebreed." And you're like, so you guys aren't even listening to it. And so you just have to, like, if it helps getting any sort of press, that's great. And, we're all proud of the other groups that we're in.
Sure.
But you can't worry about comments like that, because it's just, like, the people that like you will like it, and the people that don't like it won't like it.
Right. And I mean, I always think of the obvious of what is supposed to happen when you're done with that band. When you're done with the band that was famous, what are you supposed to do? Retire because you were in a famous band and you're going to be compared? It's not fair to you guys who are, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm assuming that all three of you and every musician you guys know are bigger than whatever band they're in as far as their creative mindset. Creative people do not lock in to one sound, almost never.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Right. Certainly. Well, guys, one thing that the press did say that I do want to dig in on a little bit is something I hope is true, which is that you guys are going for the more ugly, raw, dirty metal sound. It's not going to be polished. It's not going to be, we're not going to hire 33 producers and take 14 years to make it so that every note is polished. It's kind of like that old hardcore punk vibe of just rip it raw. Is that indeed true? And who's in charge of keeping it that way?
I think we're all kind of on the same page for wanting that. I think Charlie mentioned it right out of the gate, but we were all just like, yeah, we all play in so many bands that have so much polish to them that like having something that has that organic feel right out of the gate is something I think we were all 100% behind right immediately.
Hey, You, why are you watching this with commercials? Go commercial free and unlock exclusive content. Become a VIP today on Locals, Substack, or Rumble Premium. Stop waiting.
Yeah, I love like that. I mean, I grew up in the Connecticut hardcore scene, and I had a lot of my friends were all punk rockers, so I listened to all that, and even old 80s metal records, there was a little bit of slop there. And like I love Van Halen and Guns N' Roses. And I mean, if you put like Guns N' Roses like into Pro Tools, like it would be like, oh, all of this is bad. And it's like, no, it's
Nothing's the
really,
same.
really great, and you're wrong. And especially with some of the Dee Snider stuff and the last Jasta record, like we really went for like heavy metal perfection and just made sure every note was rock solid. And when we sent this to Nikki to mix it, who's my brother and has mixed all the Jasta stuff, he said, "Is there anything you want to be done?" And I said, "Yeah, don't touch anything." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Don't find the best take of the riff and like loop it, like do the computer thing. If I screw up in a guitar solo, I don't give a goddamn. I don't want to hear notes. We're sending it in, and it's perfect as is." And then he actually had the idea on all of the songs. Like we recorded our solos separately, and we were assuming they were going to be like in the middle of the mix, and then my brother like dragged them in and cut, and erased our rhythm tracks when we would solo, so it sounded like a live album or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, why did you do that?" And he goes, "Because that's how Slayer sounds." And I was like, "All right, you were thinking the exact same way I was. Okay, great."
I also want to mention too with this, it's what I also really enjoyed about the just overall dynamic of the sound of it is that we both recorded our own rhythm guitars, which is just an absolute rarity in today's world. It's always that one wrist across the whole album on all the strings for the rhythm stuff, and it's like hearing everybody literally playing all the notes that they are playing. It's like I feel like even just listening to it, it gives it so much more of a like a live feel.
Sure. Does keeping it raw the way that you guys are, does it lead you to reinterpret it as you go along, as you play together? Are these songs, when I see you guys 2 years from now playing Griftwitch, it's not going to sound like the video I heard. That's my guess, because you're leaving it raw and you're leaving it to interpretation that you're going to grow with when you play it live. Yes?
Yeah, I would assume the faster parts will be a little faster, and then we'll find a way to make the slower parts even slower. You want that groove to really sink in live, and so yeah, I would say so. And much to Rob's chagrin, that we'll probably be playing everything faster. One thing every drummer I work with hates whenever I write stuff on I record with a machine. Like I can't play the drums, and it'll be like, "Oh, it's 200 BPM and there's double bass." And it's like, drummers are like, "What are you, insane?" It's like all like Morbid Angel. And then I showed up to jam with Rob when we were just kind of batting this idea around, and he had like he learned all the double bass from my Insane Person demos. And I was like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting this."
Extra credit.
Yeah, he was like, I think it was I said what I said or something. I guess the pre-chorus or whatever is yeah, I mean it's not super fast, but it was fast enough, and we were jamming. It was so into it, we were kind of sped it up a little bit. He was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" He was like, relax. Like I wanted to just knock it out of the park a little bit, and I think I'm used to touring with a click and all this other stuff, and which is great in its own. It's a different skill. It's something you got to learn, but to go back to, I feel like it's the '90s all over again. We're just freeballing it, and it's pretty cool. I mean, he's not wrong. There's a couple parts in here that was like, all right, 220 blast beats. That's, I'm not really a death metal drummer. So I've been pushing myself. He's got me like whatever, like my glass ceiling is right now. I've been really trying to push myself to be able to kind of break through it. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Right. Right on.
Because this is the kind of thing where if we get a little bit of adrenaline, You know, if I'm already,
280
we're like,
beats per minute.
yeah, we're like right there, and we get a little bit of adrenaline. I don't want to like get myself in over my head, so I want to, you know, it's still got to sound good. So it's
I've been regularly practicing the music a little fast, like sped up slightly, just in case.
Yeah,
Right on.
it was actually the riff for Griftwitch. I had that whole song, and I just didn't like it. I didn't know what was wrong. I was like, "There's something wrong with this verse. I don't get it." And it wasn't that. It wasn't written like that. The bam bam bam. It was that, but then there was other stuff in there, and then I just thought of that like that gala bam 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 bam, and I sat there for a week trying to learn how to play it, and I'm like a 44-year-old man, and I'm like, I can't play this riff, and and when we started and then we started writing solos, and I told Nick, I'm like, I'm trying to write stuff that I can't play on purpose. So you got to be like writing every solo should be like the Tornado of Souls solo for you, and you should be writing impossible things. And we have a really, really fast song, and he had this just really quick drop, and he goes, "It's the hardest solo I've ever written. You know, it's so great." And then we like go to jam, and right before we play it, he's like, "Yeah, I'm really regretting writing the hardest solo I've ever played because I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it right now." And to his credit, he did do it, but like,
yeah.
it's a much different vibe.
Dude, I'm sweating every time that's coming up.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I think we probably all have certain songs with certain parts where we're all like, "Fuck, that part's coming up, man." You know,
Yeah.
there's like Griftwich has got these really quick little cuts where you go from one thing to the next, and I love that about it. I think it's cool. It's definitely keeps you guessing what's coming up, but it's just, you know, you're like, oh, that thing's coming up, and I find with that kind of stuff, if I don't think about it and I'm like in the zone, it just happens. I'm like, oh, all right, that was nothing. But if I sweat it and I'm like, that part's coming, man. So, yeah.
Right on. So are you guys, I'm assuming then that Burn What's Left is done? Yes?
Oh yeah.
Do we have a scheduled time for it yet, or are you waiting to see what Griftwitch does, or what are we doing?
We have Griftwitch out, and then just a day or two ago, we dropped another song called Away,
Okay.
and that's out as well. And that I'm assuming we'll probably release like probably end of May or something. You know, just nowadays, like everything is like, okay, put out a song and then put out videos, you know, content and all that kind of stuff. So we're just, I mean, we're a new band, so we're just trying to. I wanted to start playing shows immediately because I just said we have to just work it like a new band. Like we can't, you know, like you can't like pretend that we already have this big following. So we just have to get out there and start playing. So it's everything's a little bit behind, but the record will be out. Yeah, I would probably say around Memorial Day or something.
Okay.
Nick and
Sometime
I
spring.
both work every Milwaukee Metal Fest. Will help Jamie Jasta, like, you know,
Okay.
put together all the like VIP packages. And you know, we're fully intent on, you know, sneaking you know, a download code for the Eastblood record into every single one of those. So it'll definitely be out before the Metal Fest.
Yeah.
Right on.
And
Guys,
I'm hoping since Generation Kill is actually playing that, I'm hoping that while we're all there, I mean, if there's
Yeah.
a possibility we could maybe do a surprise couple songs, I don't know. That's just wishful thinking, but we'll see.
that's where you guys got to throw your weight around a little bit and say, yeah, don't ask, just do it. Just show up and play. Here we are.
We're all there already. Like
Parking
maybe
lot stage.
yeah,
There's
right.
400 bands there anyway. Are they going to notice if you sneak on and play one? I mean, come on.
It's
Nice.
sound check turns into a set.
Right. Well,
Line check,
guys, obviously we are talking about touring. It is, I'm convinced that it is the hardest time in the history of music to tour, just because of the price of everything and the limited return that you can get. I mean, it's so weird that you guys have to be t-shirt salesmen instead of musicians now. So talk a little bit about that. I mean, you guys do have some name recognition, which is good, but at the same time, it's just hard all over to tour. So talk about how difficult it is to get out there and get the word out.
It's I've done it a lot in a lot of different projects, and it is definitely a pain. But it's, I don't know, it would like my grandfather would say, it's better than digging ditches. It's just you just got to go out there and work insanely hard and know that what you're doing is what you've always dreamed of, and it might not be the greatest returns, but I feel like a lot of the artists that will like complain about how difficult it is are artists that have like the tour bus and like the fireworks and all that kind of stuff. And um I mean, the amount of bands that I know that are just like in a Sprinter and they're like, it's oh my god, it's so great, and you're like, yeah, that like they're coming home and they're paying their bills in a Sprinter, and then there's the band in the bus, that has like the two songs on like Serious Octane, and they look like they're killing it, but like when they go home, like they have to go sleep at their parents' house because they're
Right.
like, I have no money, I spent it all on this bus, but I look cool.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just never been. I mean, I've been booking like DIY stuff for my other bands for years, all over the country, Canada, and everything, and it's like it's never been, I guess I would say, easy, but um, that it, it's interesting how that like 30, 40, whatever minute that you get, like how incredible that is, that it makes all that other stuff worth doing, no matter how difficult it is. And it's always been true, and it just always still is true. So.
Right.
It's the album that changed everything, Metallica's Black Album. In Cause and Effect, Metallica, author Chris Aiken takes you back to the lead-up, the release, and the shockwaves that followed. Relive the moment that divided fans, reshaped heavy metal, and turned commercial radio on its ear. With insider stories and personal memories from rock critic and radio personality Chris Aiken, this book is a backstage pass to one of rock's most iconic moments. Get your copy now at chrisaiken.net or on Amazon. Don't miss out on this epic journey through heavy metal history.
Rob, I got to ask you one real quick, and it has nothing to do with the band. It has to do with everything else that you do. How do you find time to do the various things? I mean, you're in Grand Theft Auto, and you're a bodybuilder, and you're a TV guy, and you're a drummer, and you've done so many things. How do you find time? Maybe not even time isn't the right word, but how do you find the focus? Look, I'm a failed drummer. I sucked, and I tried, and I sucked. But how do you find the time when you're not 1,000% doing it all the time? How do you get proficient?
I think I had phases in my life where, I got into, I got kind of talked into doing a bodybuilding show a number of years ago, and I kind of took a detour through that. It was between bands, and, I'm the kind of person if I could do something and it seems like I might be good at it, I want to find out how good I can be at it. And, it turned out that, I did pretty well at it. So from there, sometimes I guess if you're good at that, if you can also do some acting, having someone that can do both is not as common. So I got a lot of acting. I wasn't even really set out to do any acting stuff, but some of the stuff I got was because I kind of looked the part and could do some of the acting stuff. So when I started getting back into music, I guess it was, Generation Kill was looking for a drummer, and I knew some of the guys, and it was sort of, I think the line was like, get the kitty litter out of your kick drum, man. It's time to get back to work or something, and I was like, kitty litter in my kick drum, but once I started getting back into music again, I still love the gym, I still train and all that, but I kind of, like you said, it's hard to focus on everything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I find it's not even that easy to focus on multiple music projects. So, Generation Kill is writing some new stuff right now, and it's difficult to kind of wrangle both. But luckily, this has been so easy. It just fell together so easily. It wasn't like pulling teeth at all. So to me, I you know, to get proficient at something, you're right. I did have to focus kind of a lot on it. But you know, as far as the gigs go, like you know, Grand Theft Auto was 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks of shooting. You know, it was a lot of work, but you know, then it's over and then it's just there, which
Right.
was, you know, that's the kind of the beauty of that kind of stuff, or a record or anything like that. Like once it's done, it's recorded. It's a snapshot in time, and you know, I don't have to continue to, you know, every time someone puts on the Generation Kill album, I don't have to go play it in their living room. They can listen to it whenever they want. But you know, the touring part of it, you know, like he was just saying, those 45 minutes or an hour, or if you're lucky, it makes it worth sleeping in an RV with a kink in my back for a month or something, you
Right.
know. And you know, just I've done both. I've been in the bus and I've been in the RV, and I've been, you know, and you know, of course the bus is more comfortable, but you know, it's so expensive, like you said. All that stuff just adds up. And if you want to make any money or do anything and be able to continue to do it rather than, you know, having it cost you a lot of money, you got to be able to kind of suck it up and do it the least comfortable, most profitable way, I guess.
Right. Makes sense. Well, guys, obviously, man, you have a couple of songs that are out there now. We try to tell everybody on this show, it's fine if you're going to go to YouTube or Spotify or whatever and listen to it a couple of times. 2, 3, we'll say 5. But past that, buy something. Buy something from the band to help these guys make a go of it. Where do we send people? Where's the best place to send people to buy stuff from Eastblood?
I would say Eastblood Band at Bandcamp.
Okay.
I would say the Bandcamp is the best, and we'll have like shirts and stuff by Monday. Because I'm going to pick them up now, and for our couple shows this weekend. So we'll be putting those up as well, and it'll be a whole little one-stop shop very soon.
Right on. Are you guys nervous about the first show? Because these are the first shows, yes?
Yeah, first shows ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nervous?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
I'm very, very excited, but like I was like the way I was raised, it was always like, what's the worst? Like, what can go wrong? You must prepare for what's going to go wrong. And so I'm just like, I've
Charlie's in
only
hell.
played with Rob for like a year and a half or something, like on and off, and this will be the first time I'm ever like not looking at him,
Okay.
and I'm just like, is there any sort of visual cues that we work on that we're not going to have anymore? And like, I know it'll be fine, but in my mind, the whole set, I'm just going to be thinking about that.
Right on. Well, guys, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I've been pretty much just doing the Generation Kill thing for the last, I don't know how many years. So I've got my setup. I bring my little tech with me, and I'm pretty comfortable with all that stuff. So now this is a whole different throw and go kind of scenario. I believe I'm using a house kit on both these shows, or at least I'm not using my stuff. So
Right.
if I get nervous about anything, it's that, because I don't know what I'm trying to cover all my bases, and I'm bringing some extra stuff just in case, and all that other jazz. Because these songs, it's not like playing
punk rock.
It's
Punk
not like
rock,
playing
fuck
an
that tech.
AC/DC set. It's not like playing an AC/DC set. It's like, these songs are intricate and they're difficult to execute. So, I was teasing Charlie, like, if we could just take off 3 or 4 of his guitar strings and make him play the solos, and I'm sure you could do it, you know what I mean? But it's not quite the same thing, but, it's
Right.
going to be good. So that I have that, and then also on the other side of it, I'm just taking the attitude, like, whatever you sit me in front of, I'm going to demolish. So that's
on.
it.
Excellent.
That's where my head's at.
Very good. Well, I'm sure the stages are going to get demolished this weekend and in the future as Eastblood starts making their way around. Make sure you check them out. Eastblood, was it Eastblood Band on Bandcamp? Yes?
Yeah, Eastblood Band at most places.
Okay. And I'll link it here in the description on the stuff. But check out the band Eastblood. Check out Griftwitch. Check out Away. Look for the album Burn What's Left. And guys, this has been fun. Thanks for joining me here on Chris Aiken Presents.
Thanks for having us,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you so much.
Your daily metal fix is on Rumble. Watch the Classic Metal Show episodes free or go commercial free with a premium subscription. Find your Classic Metal Show now at rumble.com/c/CMS, rumble.com/c/CMS.